It's upstream. That's right. It is Flyers game day as the preseason rolls on. Would it be rolls on the right term you use there, Smitty?
I don't know about that. I mean, it's plodding on. It's it's going quicker than it has in past years. I'll give you that much.
Yeah. Well, we're back to back today and tomorrow. Tonight in Boston wraps up the road portion of the preseason, but they'll be right back at it tomorrow at Wells Fargo Center to take on the New Jersey Devils. And then coming up on Monday, it's once again these Boston Bruins, and they'll wrap up the preseason. What is it, Thursday against the Islanders? Is that right?
That's correct. That sounds right. Yeah, the Monday thing tripped me up. I've known for weeks that we have a game on October 2nd, but it didn't occur to me until this morning that was Monday. So, 3 games in 4 nights here over this next little run.
Flyers did take care of some business today and reduced their training camp roster. This is coming from General Manager Daniel Briere. Flyers loan forwards Alexei Gendron and Zayde Wisdom, and defensemen Mason Millman, Ethan Sampson, and Will Zmolik to the Lehigh Valley of the American Hockey League. And they also released Adam Karashik and Nolan Meyer from their PTO contracts, personal tryout contracts, and both will report to the Phantoms. So the training camp roster now, it's getting more manageable. It's still big. 44 players, 26 forwards, 14 D, and 4 goaltenders. Carson Bjarnason was sent back to Brandon the other day as well. So it's getting a little bit more manageable.
Yeah, you've got it down to 2 groups now. You've got it to 2 teams, whatever, and so it's certainly a little bit easier to deal with from a numbers standpoint. That last part about Karashik and Meyer, that you look at that and say they released them, yada yada. Well, that's really just a procedural thing because they're not on NHL contracts, so the only way they can attend NHL camp is to sign the PTO, and that's what the Flyers wanted them to do. They wanted them in the NHL camp. So, none of that was unexpected. It's not like those guys failed or anything like that. It's just, they now will get ready for AHL camp, and there's going to be another round of cuts, I would imagine, after the weekend, in order to stock Lehigh Valley's camp, which should start Monday or Tuesday, so they can get going.
Well, the interesting thing is there's a few guys in the lineup tonight that are on that bubble, right? You look at, so let's go through the line. It's Morgan Frost, Owen Tippett, and Bobby Brink. Bobby Brink, obviously, on that bubble. Elliot Denoye is going to be centering the second line with Joel Farabee and Tyson Forster. I guess you can kind of say Tyson Forster still has something to prove, and he's got to earn it here in camp.
Yeah, I mean, we have to you want to listen to what John Tortorella says in these media availabilities, and sometimes you have to listen between the lines a little bit, if you will. And he was talking yesterday about how a lot of guys have not necessarily penciled themselves in yet, I think is how he put it, more or less. And one of the few people that he mentioned by name was Tyson Forster. So I don't think he's necessarily come out and blown the doors off of the eyes of the management. And so, I think that for him, maybe it still is a little bit up in the air. Bobby Brink is the same way. Elliot Denoye is also kind of the same way. I mean, obviously, the Flyers aren't going to have room for all of these guys, and it would not be good for their development for them all to stay with the Flyers when you only have so many slots in the lineup to go around. You want them playing. So, that's going to be, again, part of what plays out here over these next 3 games over this weekend. And by the time we get to Tuesday, we should have a lot more clarity on where the lineup's headed.
Yeah, and then they'll have a lot more clarity, too, before final cuts and be able to start, really digging into systems and getting all that stuff. A lot of it's been conditioning and compete drills and those kind of things. We're starting to see a little bit of that system stuff integrated now. The third line tonight will be Ryan Poehling centering Garnet Hathaway and Nick Delarier, and then Jacob Goucher, Cooper Marody, and Jordy Bellarive on the fourth line. And again, same situation here on the blue line, Bri. Igor Zamula is playing with Travis Sanheim. Victor Mete is playing with Helgi Grans. And Louis Del Pito is playing with Nick Seeler. But when you look at Zamula and Victor Mete in particular, these are 2 guys that need to show something. Zamula is not waiver exempt. So this is a really important game for him coming off an injury last year.
Yeah, there's a couple people that that waiver exemption is going to kind of, I don't know if it's going to affect anything or whatever. I think Torts also reflected that in his comments yesterday, that you've got waivers, but eventually you've just got to put together your team. Felix Sandstrom is a guy we've talked about at length, that he's got to get through that waiver process if he goes to Lehigh Valley. And
we saw a goalie claim today.
Yeah. I mean, and that's, there's a time here when people, it's not. There's a strategy to this, because as you approach the roster deadline, which I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but there's a date by which you have to cut your roster down. And when that happens, the waiver wire gets flooded. I mean, you literally probably have 100 guys on it trying to get down to the American Hockey League. And, the thing about waivers is it's not just a matter of claiming somebody and, okay, now you can do whatever you want. If you claim a guy off waivers, you're stuck with them on your roster. You can't claim them and just put them down in the American League. You have to hold on to them and then, maybe try to waive them again or something like that. But it's not just a cut or dry thing. And so, I did notice that it was kind of an odd time for a goalie to be on waivers, and he did get snapped up. So, we'll see where it goes. But that's not to say that if somebody gets claimed, the Flyers can't claim somebody to replace them. It's a system that's designed to benefit the players more than the team, because the player doesn't want to get stuck in the AHL in his veteran years. That's why it's there. So, the Flyers will have to navigate it like everybody else.
Yeah, and that's why it's not the lateral move. You can't claim them and go, okay, we'll claim this guy and put him on our AHL team because we could use that in our minor league level. That if you claim him, he's NHL bound.
And you might recall too that there used to be a re-entry waivers when you were coming back up from the American Hockey League. You had to go through waivers. That was eliminated in the 2012-2013 CBA. But the few years before the Flyers had Mike Layton playing in the final, they had him again, and he literally came in one day and was gone the next. I don't even think he lasted a week, because he was picked up off re-entry waivers. So it was a bit of a conundrum back then too.
And don't think, Torts talked about it. Yeah, I have to put the best roster on the ice, but you also have to understand the plight of the GM and the organizational outlook. And those things will play into some of these decisions that are made ultimately and how this plays out. In goal tonight, we do have Cal Peterson and Sam Ersson. Do we know who's getting the start tonight? Is it Sam Ersson getting the start? We don't know.
I have no idea. Didn't get that. Didn't get the word, but somebody knows.
Yeah, I'm sure Rocky Thompson does, because he'll be on the bench tonight. He's going to be running the bench for the Flyers against the Bruins, and the Bruins are a much different looking team, aren't they? I mean,
they are. Yeah, I was just noticing that during warmups. The roster sheet indicates that Sam Ersson will get the start tonight.
Okay, maybe I'm not sure if it's going to be a full, down the middle split, which is always great for the guy coming in second.
Yeah,
so,
and Torts talked at length about wanting to get another look at Cal Peterson yesterday, because obviously that first game didn't go too great for him.
Yeah, and he said the team was not good in front of him, but you could also use a save, and that's where your goalie's got to bail you out. Sam Ersson did look good in his only appearance so far. So it's the Flyers and the Bruins. Bruins' 100th season will kick off this year without Patrice Bergeron, without David Krejci, and it's going to be interesting to see what they are this season. But that's a problem for Boston to solve, not for us to solve. What are you looking for in tonight's game, Bri?
I mean, again, it's just a matter of a certain level of player trying to come out and really kind of show what they've got. And again, it's more the middle, the middle tier, if you will. We know who the top liners are going to be on this team, and we know who's headed back to Lehigh Valley eventually. But the Bobby Brinks, Tyson Forsters, Elliot Denoye, maybe even to an extent Morgan Frost stepping in here. I think Frost is probably safe, but those guys stepping in here and really taking the opportunity to make a statement. And then I think I'm going to like this line of Delorier, Paling, and Hathaway every time it comes on the ice this year. I'm just really looking forward to that after seeing them in the scrimmages this past weekend. So, those are kind of the things that I'm interested to see happen tonight.
Yeah, and I'm looking for a little bit more goal scoring. Obviously, they've only scored one goal in the 2 games. It was Ryan Paling and Morgan Frost to get off to a really good start this year and show that the final 55 games of last year is the direction and the player that he is. So stay tuned. Find out. Tim Saunders, Todd Fedora, they are in Boston at TD Garden. They've got the countdown to face off, followed by all the first period action coming up right after this. You've been listening to Flyers Game Day on the BetRivers.com Flyers Broadcast Network.